Masechet Zvachim, page 70, in Yirtzeh Hashem. We're going to complete this beautiful perek. We are on page 69b, in the middle of the page. Just some point to refresh what we discussed yesterday. We have one concept that it's called Tum'at Nevela, when you have a body of a dead animal. By Torah law, that body metame bemaga ubemasa, meaning when a person's touch the body of the dead animal or by carry the body of a dead animal, that's called av hatum'ah, the most highest level of contagious ritual impurity, and therefore as far as temple services in Yerushalayim or being in a state of receiving contamination of dead animal in the opposite of the capability to perform temple services, obviously it's an issue by the Torah law. The Torah said, "Vechibes b'gadav v'tameh ad ha'erev," that he has a certain period of time that needs to go through these rules of purification, which included the laundry of his garments and the period of time that he is in a state of ritual impurity. Now, it's important to understand what we discussed yesterday and day before yesterday, the difference between nevelat behema, taking the carcass, the dead body of domesticated animal, versus nevelat of the dead body of, for example, a bird. We explain that within the concept of meaning flying bird, etc., we differentiate by Torah law between pure, meaning some that is fitting for consumption, such as bird of tahor. So we explain that as far as they carry ritual impurity by Torah law, it applies only beveit habli'ah, only when the person who consume that. So as we explain, nevelat of tahor, when it's come to, for example, bird that is kosher for consumption by Torah law, a carcass, a dead body of tahor, it's carry ritual impurity when it's a dead body bebeit habli'ah, in the throat, but not b'maga ubemasa, but not when a person touches a dead carcass, a dead body of a kosher bird. We derive it from the pasuk in Parashat Acharei Mot, book of Vayikra, Leviticus chapter 17, verse 15. Kol nefesh asher tochal nevela u'toifa, any soul, chayut nefesh, it's from the moment the Mefarshim said when it's reached the throat, v'chibes v'tameh v'rachatz b'mayim, etc. Now, it's important to know the source that nevelat of ta'or, that the body of a kosher animal that carry ritual impurity in the throat, metameh bebeit habli'ah, it's in Parashat Acharei Mot, but it's only then, meaning only upon consumption, then metameh et habolea, the one who consume it, receive or get a status of ritual impurity, and also b'gadav, also his garment, and if he touch any vessels in nogea b'kelim, so it's also b'chiburav. But that's a big difference to nevelat of tameh. If you have a dead body of a animal, meaning bird, for example, eagle, nesher, right? Eagle of tameh, it's ritually impure for consumption, but that's the chidush, that's the novelty in the Torah, eino metameh, It's not transfer a ritual impurity. And that's very kind of riddle or very interesting. You have here davar tameh, something that by Torah law is ritually impure and carry ritual impurity, but lo metameh. It's not a category of domesticated animal and not in beta bli'ah. So in that sense, unlike ofta or unlike, for example, regular, let's say dove, bird, a nesher, a eagle, just as an example, is not carry lo metameh b'maga. It's not transfer ritual impurity by touching the dead body of an eagle. If a person ate, that's a different story. That's a total different biblical concept, which is he ate nevela, it's received malkot, but etc. But as far as tum'ah, he doesn't carry ritual impurity, and therefore, hypothetically speaking, it's not an issue of entering the temple's domain. So here we are, middle of page 69b. Amar le Rav Sheizvi. So Rav Sheizvi said to the sage who suggests, which is the source of Rabbi Yehuda's point of view, Ela me'ata. If we zoom in the text of the book of Vayikra, chapter 7, verse 24, the Torah said, Dichtiv, in regards to the prohibition against eating fat of animal, the Torah said, V'chelev nevela, v'chelev treifa, ye'aseh lechol melacha ve'achol lo tochluhu. So it means, the derivative Rashi said, that here is the word of Rashi, Ba hakatuv lehashmi'enu. The Torah comes and teaches us, Rashi said, Al chelev neveila, that if you fat from a carcass animal, she'eina metam'ah, that it's not carry ritual impurity, the same as consuming its meat. And it's a big chidush. If you look at Tractate Psachim, page 23, it's derivative that you can use it to any melechet kodesh. For example, you can mutar limroach al tefillin. You can use it, for example, for the tefillin. Hatam namen neima. So here, to interpreted the verse of Rabbi Yehuda's logic. Im treifa chaya, harei nevela asura. If it is referring to a live treifa, the case is superfluous. As a dead body, a carcass, it's stated. So, because it is prohibited to eat a fat of to eat a carcass, so the forbidden fat of a carcass is pure. Obviously, that of a live animal is pure. Im treifa chaya harei nevela amura. Im treifa eina chaya, if the treifa is not alive, but has rather died of its wounds, harei hi bechlal nevela. That's part of the category of a dead body of animal. Ela lehavit treifa sheshchata. The word treifa come to teach us to include treifa that one slaughtered, shechelba tahor, that is forbidden fat is pure, michlal dehi mitam'a. So by one should then conclude that its meat does not impart impurity. So now the Gemara challenged, said, "V'amar Rav Yehuda amar Rav v'amre la b'matnit Tana v'chiyamut mina be'ema." The Torah said in the book of Vayikra, chapter 11, verse 39, and if some animal of which you may eat dies, so the Torah said one who touches its dead body shall be impure. So because the Torah used the term some, if some animal, some we derive from that miktzat behema metam'a. Miktzat behema eina metam'a. Part, it's carry ritual impurity, and part not. Ve'eizozo, and which is that not in part impurity. Zo treifa sheshachta. That's applied to treifa, that one slaughter. So the chidush here, that if even its meat does not impart impurity, the word treifa is not needed to teach that its forbidden fat is pure. Ela treifa mibailel et ma'utei tme'ah. So the treifa here in the pasuk concerning forbidden fat, which is Leviticus chapter 7 verse 24, is necessary to exclude non-kosher animals from the halacha in the pasuk, and to teach that their forbidden fat is impure. So the word indicates that only the forbidden fat of those those dead animal to whose species the halacha of treifa applies, which is those of kosher animals, impart impurity. Yatzta zo she'ein bemina treifa. Forbidden fat of a dead body of a non-kosher animal is excluded, as the halacha of treifa does not apply to its species. So you see here that the status of treifa is immaterial for a non-kosher animal, as its consumption is forbidden regardless. So the Gemara said, Hachanami, here in regard to tum'at of tahor, that it's only bebeit tabliah, only in the throat. So it means when the pasuk used the term treifa, so it's only if its species is a treifa, which is of tahor, for example, dov, then metame bebeit tabliah, carry ritual impurity in the throat. Lemautei of tameh she'ein bemino treifa. So here we're excluding the dead body of a non-kosher bird from ritual impurity, as the halacha of treifa does not apply to its species. So consequently, the pasuk cannot serve as a source of Rabbi Yehuda's view with regard to the impurity of a slaughtered bird that is a treifa. So the Gemara answered, and they said, Of tameh leRabbi Yehuda mi nevela nafkalei. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, the halacha of a dead body of a non-kosher bird does not impart impurity, is derived from the phrase a nevela, a dead body, as it appears elsewhere. The Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, we learn in the Braita, Yachol te'eh nivlat of tameh metama bgadim habet habli'ah. So you may thought that dead body of a non-kosher bird make the garments of one who swallowed it ritually impure when it's in his throat. Talmud Lomar, the Torah said in Leviticus chapter 22 verse 8, Nevela utrefa lo yochal letom'ava. So letom'ava, it appears as a superfluous. Pasuk Shu said, a dead body or a trefa shall not eat. They said, mishum bal tochal nevela, those birds who are forbidden specifically due to the prohibition. The Torah said you shall not eat a dead body kosher birds that died without ritual slaughter. Yatza zeh, we excluded what? Of tameh, for example, nesher, right? שאין איסורו משום בל תאכל נבלה, אלא משום בל תאכל טמא. It's forbidden not because of the pasuk, you shall not eat a dead body, but rather due to the prohibition, you shall not eat a non-kosher bird. So consequently, the word treifa in the pasuk in Leviticus 17 verse 15 teaches that the slaughter treifa imparts ritual impurity as originally positioned. Page 70. So as we learned earlier on the early part on page 69b, the Gemara derived that Rabbi Yehuda do not take the superfluous of the word, apparent superfluous of the word treifa, the Torah referred to a of tahor, to a kosher bird, the same as treifa that refer to fat, which is the chelev, the fat. It's applied to specifically behemat me'ah, to the non-kosher domesticated animal. So here the Gemara said, "Hai tipoklei mi vechelev nevela." So if you follow this logic, we can derive the halacha that the forbidden fat of a dead body of a non-kosher animal is impure from the pasuk in Leviticus 7 verse 24, and the fat of a dead body of animal and the fat of a treifa may be used for any other service, which means that such forbidden fat is ritually pure. So the Gemara said, "Mishi suro mishum bal tochal chelev nevela." So this pasuk applies to what? That the pasuk renders pure only fat that is forbidden specifically due to the prohibition. You should not eat forbidden fat of a dead body of animal, the forbidden fat of kosher animal. יצתה זו שאין אסורה משום בל תאכל חלב נבלה אלא משום טמא. So that basically serves to exclude the forbidden fat of non-kosher animal, which is not forbidden due to the prohibition. You should not eat forbidden fat of a dead animal, but rather due to the prohibition against eating a non-kosher animal. So because you have the pasuk that stated that fats are ritually pure, is referring only to what? To kosher animals. The forbidden fat of a dead body of a non-kosher animal must be impure. So you see here Rav Shizvi, a derivation of this halacha from the word treifa, it's apparent as superfluous. So the Gemara said, "Ela hai treifa mibaya le'ituyei chaya." The word treifa is necessary to include the forbidden fat of a dead body of a kosher undomesticated animal to teach that it is ritually pure, as it might enter to your mind to say that only the forbidden fat of a dead body of those animals whose fat is forbidden and whose meat is permitted if slaughter, which is kosher domesticated animals, is ritually pure. And the pasuk elahai treifa mibal le'tucha yasegel etach amina mi shechelba asur ubsora mutar יצתה זו שחלבה ובשרה מותר, to exclude this forbidden fat of dead body of those animals whose fat and meat are both permitted if slaughter, which is kosher undomesticated animals whose fat is impure. To counter this possibility, you have the word treifa kamash melan, that the fat of a dead body of any animal that can become a treifa is ritually pure, including the fat of kosher undomesticated animals. Amar le mashna itmea. So he said to him, if you go this way, what is the difference about a non-kosher animal that will cause its forbidden fat to be impure? De'ein chelba chaluk mibsara, because the fat is not distinct from its meat, because both are forbidden for consumption. Chaya name ein chelba chaluk mibsara. The fat of kosher undomesticated animal is also distinct from its meat, as both are permitted. Ve'od, and furthermore, The Torah said in Leviticus chapter 4 verse 24, chapter 7 verse 24, Ve'achol lo tochluhu, but you shall in no way eat of it. So we learn in the next part of the daf on page 70b that excluding the fat of undomesticated animals, teaching that it is impure. We need treifa for its own sake. What the idea to teach the forbidden fat of a dead animal, of a treifa, of a kosher domesticated animal is pure. The inclusion of the word teaches שלא תאמר הואיל טמאה אסורה מחיים וטריפה אסורה מחיים. מה טמאה חלבה טמא אף טריפה חלבה טמא? So therefore it teaches that it's pure. So the Gemara said, if that's the case, if one should have learned the halacha of a forbidden fat of a treifa from the halacha of forbidden fat of a non-kosher animal, then the word treifa in the verse concerning the impurity of a kosher bird, dead body, which is Leviticus 17 verse 15, is also necessary. יהיה חי מבעל שלא תאמר הואיל ועוף טמא אסור באכילה וטרפה אסורה באכילה. מה עוף טמא אינו מטמא, אף טרפה אינה מטמאה. ועוד מעיקר לטרפה מטמאה, טמאה לא הייתה לה שד הכושר. Meaning they didn't have, the non-kosher animal never had a kosher period before being forbidden. טריפה הייתה לה שד הכושר, וטריפה had a kosher period before becoming a טריפה. וחיתם הטריפה מבטן מעיקה למימה. You tell me טריפה from the womb, which never had a kosher period. So he said, במינה מהאיקה. So they said that there are kosher animal amongst these species, which is the treifa, is a member of a kosher species, which cannot be said of a non-kosher animal. אלא מה רב התורה אמרה, יבוא איסור נבלה ויחול על איסור חלב, יבוא איסור טריפה ויחול על איסור חלב. The Torah teaches us that let the prohibition of eating a dead body or come and take effect, where the prohibition of eating forbidden fat already exists. So one who eats the forbidden fat of a dead body is liable for both eating forbidden fat and for eating from a dead body. The same way as treifa, utzrichi, you need both. The nevela and treifa. ויש מן נבלה משום דמטמיה, אבל טריפה עמה לא, ויש מן טריפה משום דאיסורה מחיים, that they still, while it's still alive. However, אבל נבלה עמה לא, so therefore you need both. ורבי מאיר, so we understand according to Rabbi Yehuda the word treifa concerning that the impurity of a kosher bird, the body teaches that a slaughtered bird that is a treifa impart ritual impurity. But what does Rabbi Meir, who hold that a slaughtered bird that is a treifa does not impart ritual impurity? Slaughtered of a non-sacred bird that occur inside the temple courtyard. We learn that it does not cause them to impart ritual impurity, as would a dead nevela, even though they are forbidden for consumption. Rabbi Yehuda, how Rabbi Yehuda understand it? So Rabbi Yehuda derive treifa acharina ktiv. They derived the halacha from this pasuk, Leviticus 22 verse 8, which said a nevela or treifa shall not eat to become impure with it. Rabbi Meir, and how the Rabbi Meir interpret the appearance of the word treifa in both psukim. Chad l'mu'ute shchita shi lifnim, v'chad l'mu'ute of tameh. One, to include the slaughter of that occurred inside the temple courtyard, as we said earlier, and the other one to exclude a non-kosher bird. That the dead body of a non-kosher bird does not impart ritual impurity. ורבי יהודה מנבלה נפקא ליה, ורבי מאיר, היי נבלה מה יביד ליה, לשיעורי אכילה בכזית. Even that level of kezait and olive bark, which is the standard legal measure of consumption for the Torah law in general. So v'tipuk למקרא כמה, so they said מדאפקי רחמנה, because the Torah expressed this halacha using the language of consumption, בלשון אכילה. חל אישור אכילה בחזית וחל אישור אכילה בכדי אכילת פרס. So it take longer than the standard measure of time will not contact impurity. It may enter to your mind to think, since it's a novelty, as one contracts it by eating rather than touching or carrying, perhaps its halachot are unusually stringent, and even one who eats an olive bark is more than the time that it takes to a half loaf of a bread should be contact impurity. Consequently come to teach us otherwise. תנו רבנן, בחלב נבלה וחלב טרפה, בחלב בהמה טהורה כתוב מדבר. Here in the pasuk, Leviticus 7, verse 24, it speaks of the forbidden fat of a kosher animal. אתה אומר בחלב בהמה טהורה, הכתוב מדבר אוהל אלא בחלב בהמה טמאה. אמרת טיהר, the Torah said that the slaughter animal pure of the impurity of a dead body due to the fact that it was ritually slaughtered. טיהר מכלל שחוטה וטיהר מכלל כלב. מה שכשטיהר מכלל שחוטה בתורה ולא בטמאה, אף כשטיהר מכלל חלב בתורה ולא בטמאה. או כהלכה לדרך זו, טיהר מכלל נבלה וטיהר מכלל טריפה. The Torah makes the dead body of a non-kosher animal ritually pure, removing it from the category of nevela. And likewise, the Torah makes the forbidden fat of a dead body pure due to the fact that it's forbidden fat. So therefore, the two cases are comparable. מה כשתהיה מכלל נבלה בטמאה ולא בטהורה, וכשתהיה מכלל חלב בטמאה ולא בטהורה. Just the same way as the Torah make the dead body of a non-kosher animal pure, removing it from the category of nevela, it's referring also only to a non-kosher animal and not to a kosher animal. So the nevela, of which impart impurity, the same way when the Torah renders a forbidden fat pure due to the fact that it's forbidden fat, it's referring only to a non-kosher animal, a non-kosher, and not to a kosher animal. So the Gemara said, Amart, so you may respond to that. And it's by the way, it's an important Rambam. The Rambam said in Ilchot Avot HaTumot chapter 1, the forbidden fat of a dead body of a kosher animal is ritually pure, as it's written, in the forbidden fat of a nevela and the forbidden fat of treifa may be used for any other service, but you shall in no way eat to it. So the pasuk in Leviticus 7 verse 24 applies only to a kosher animal which are forbidden due to their status as a nevela, but not to a non-kosher animal which are forbidden even if it's slaughtered. The forbidden fat of a nevela, of a non-kosher animal, is therefore, like the rest of its meat, impure. Page 70b, כשבא בדרך זו היא בטהורה. When one approaches the matter this first way, the halacha is forbidden fat is pure, applies specifically to kosher animal. כשבא בדרך זו היא בטמאה. But one approaches the matter in the second way, the halacha applies specifically to a non-kosher animal. Talmud lomar treifa, therefore the pasuk said treifa, which is a kosher animals is ritually pure. This status of treifa is immaterial to a non-kosher animal, as its consumption is forbidden regardless. הוציא את הטמאה שאין בבינה טמאה, ולא הוציא את החיה שאין בבינה טריפה, תלמוד לומר ואכול לא תאכלו, but you shall no way eat it, that there is only to animal whose fat is forbidden for consumption if slaughtered. מי שחלבה אסור ובשרה מותר. יצא חיה, however, if you have those meat whose meat is permitted, which is kosher domesticated animals, שחלבה ובשרה מותר, whose fat and meat are both permitted for consumption. And this is the Rambam, Ilchot Shir Avot HaTumot, chapter 1. The forbidden fat of nevela, of all undomesticated animals, whether kosher or not, impart ritual impurity as a nevela. That's basically follow our Braita. Omar le Rav Yaakov, בר אבא לרבא, אלא מעתה נבלת בהמה טהורה. הוא דמטמאה, נבלת בהמה טמאה לא מטמאה. אמר לי, כמה סבי שבישתו בה? He said, how many elders you have caused to err in this interpretation of this Braita? Seifa atan nvelat of tameh. The later clause, the Seifa, we come to discuss only a nevela of a non-kosher bird, which does not impart impurity. By contrast, nevela of a non-kosher animals are impure. Omar Rabbi Yochanan, לא תיהר רבי מאיר נבלת עוף טמא שנמלק, אלא בתמימים, only unblemished birds whose naps were pinched as they feed to be sacrificed. אבל בבעלי מומים, but those blemish birds, לא, it's not fit to be sacrificed. רבי אליעזר אמר אפילו בעלי מומים, says even blemished birds, pure, and did not distinguish between them two. רבי אלעזר אמר אפילו בעלי מומים, והתמרנה מאמר רב ביבי אמר רבי אלעזר, מתאר הרב מאיר בעלי מומין, ואפילו בבלים ותרנגולים, even a geese and chicken, species that may be brought as offering, and as much as are never supposed to be pinched. So by Rabbi Yirmiyah, araf is ma'u, one who broke the neck of a goat, that's impurity of animal nevela applies. By breaking the neck is considered the proper procedure in certain cases, as the Torah command that a heifer's neck be broken if a murdered body is found between the two cities and the identity of the murderer is unknown. That's Deuteronomy chapter 21 verse 4. So the Gemara said, Avazim v'tarnegolim ta'amai, the reason of geese and chickens are pure if their naps are pinched, the minad of fotninu, because they are considering a species of the birds, and the nape of some bird are pinched. Aval ez lav minad de'eglahu, but goes is a species of heifer. Or dilma minad de'behemau, you may say that it's part of domesticated animal. יתיב רב דימי וקרא להשמטה, אמר לאביי מכלל דגלה רופאה טהורה היא, אמר לאין, אמר לדבר רבי ינאי, כפרה כתיב בה בקודשים. The Torah said in Deuteronomy 21 verse 8, so the same as atonements is written with regard to sacrificial animal, the breaking of the heifer's neck is equivalent to the pinching of the nape of a bird offering, and breaking its neck prevents the heifer from imparting ritual impurity. Metiv Rav Natan avua de Rav Huna bar Natan, ve'achol lo tochlu, the Torah said in Leviticus 7 verse 24, and you shall no way eat of it. And the chelev shasur b'achila u'mutar bana, chelev shel shor, fat of an ox that is stoned by the court, or forbidden fat ve'egla rufa minayin, of a heifer whose neck is broken. Talmud lomar kol chelev, because the Torah used the term in Leviticus 3 verse 17, you shall not eat no fat, no blood, because you have here generalization of the word no fat. It indicates that the same halachot apply to the forbidden fat of all domesticated kosher animal, including those from which one is prohibited from deriving benefits. V'sagadat ha'chegla arufat torai hi Torah v'chelbat tameh. So the Gemara asks, heicha de'araf mi'araf lo yitzricha le, where he one broke his neck of the heifer. Ki yitzricha eicha de'shachat ha'mishchat, when one slaughtered a heifer whose neck was designated to be broken. So the Gemara asks, v'hanei v'tehen le'shchita le'tara midei nevela lo tzricha de'meta, the heifer that died before its neck could be broken is pure, even though the heifer itself assumed the status of a nevela. So the Gemara asks, Michlal de mechayim asura, that is prohibited to derive from that, to derive benefit from the heifer while it's still alive? The Gemara said, yes, indeed. Amar Rabbi Yanai, gvul shamati v'shachachti. Rabbi Yanai said, I heard the boundary, a stage a stage between forbidden and permitted. ונסבין חבריה למימר, and yet the members of the group of scholars were inclined to say, ירידתה לנחלת איתן היא אוסרתה, because you descended to a hard valley, which is Deuteronomy 21 verse 4, where its neck was broken, is the action that renders it forbidden. In the Masechet Kritut, page 24 and 25, is a disputation among the Amoraim, and the conclusion is in the Gemara that it's actually a machloket Tanaim, and the Rambam said, Ilchot Rotzeach Ushmirat Hanefesh, chapter 10, it becomes prohibited to derive benefit from a heifer whose neck is broken from the time it descends into a hard valley. If it subsequently dies or is slaughtered before its neck is broken, it remains prohibited to derive benefit from it, and the heifer must be buried. And the Gaon Rabbi David Deitch asked in the Kovetz Kerem Shlomo, he brings the Rashi in Bchorot, page 9. Rashi said, ושור הנסכל ששחטו לאחר שנגמר דינו, דלא ירצה בו לטומאת נבלות, ועגלה רופאה שחטה לאחר ירתן נחל איתן. So he asks, it's an ערפה ממש, לא מטמא טומאת נבלה. So he brings the tzemach tzedek, סוף סימן י"ג, and Gemara in Nida 55. Anyway, you see more on that in both in the book by Tzvi Pesach Frank, on the Sugya, and also by my brother-in-law, David Mandelbaum, the book Daf al Daf. Hadran alach chatat ha'of.